Yeah, I'm Steve List, and who's got their phone on? I'm sending it to the dean. Phone away. No, we don't get. She's not buying into my humor. Okay. You got to buy into my humor, you guys, if you want this lecture to be good. Anyhow, my name is Steve List. I teach at Silmar High School. Do you know where Silmar is? We're at Silmar. What are we famous for? Fires. What else? Olives. Who said that? Not very many, though, because they're all dying from a disease. What else are we famous for? Earthquakes. Drug busts. Shootings. And the best ag program in LA. How many people have been to my facility? 3, 4. Not enough. Hey, I want to open an invitation. If you guys want to come and visit me at school, you're always welcome. I'd like you to come during school when the kids are there, so you can see what organized chaos looks like. It's pretty crazy to see 200 teenagers running around always, but they're always doing something. They're always on track. But I do these workshops. We're going on our 3rd year. We just introduced Griffith Park about 6 months ago. We did get a new contract for next year, so we're going to be here for a while. Every month we have a new topic. And this topic is what? Water. Water, water, water. And I got my ideas. Some politically correct,
beer.
Some not. But we're going to talk as we go. But first I'm going to introduce, just for a real short, brief lecture, these folks from Curb Your Waste are going to talk to you a little bit. Please don't get discouraged and run away. You do want to listen. I got a lot of good information to give you. So Reno and Kurt, come on down. They're going to explain what they're doing. And then while they're doing that, please listen, but also try to get questions. Okay, this lecture works really well when you guys ask questions.
Hello. My name is Kirk, and this is Reno. We're going to be talking to you today about the Curb Your Food Waste program, which everyone seems to be really excited about and wants to be a part of, but unfortunately cannot be a part of yet. So yeah, the Curb Your Food Waste program is a pilot program that the city is doing through the Department of Sanitation. It's about 18,000 households, and it's spread out throughout the city, so it's pretty small scale. But the program, it's a food scraps recycling and food waste prevention program. So there's those 2 parts. For the people who are in the pilot, is anyone here in the pilot? You would have gotten a flyer in the mail several times and like a tag in a green bin? No? Yeah. You're in the pilot program? Whoa! Alright. Everyone's jealous. You're so lucky. Yeah. Have you been putting food scraps in the pilot? No, because I don't really know what I'm doing. We could talk to you after one-on-one. So for the people who are in the pilot, they could put food scraps into their yard waste bin, the green bin. They could put meat, bones, dairy, everything. The things that you don't want to put in your backyard one, the meat, bones, dairy, you could put in the green bin. Which is pretty amazing. All that material is going to go to an anaerobic digestion facility, which breaks down the material, produces methane. It's the same thing that happens in a landfill, except in a landfill it can leak easily, and methane is like 3 times more powerful, 30 times more powerful as a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. So landfill, that's why the city's doing the program, is we want to keep food waste out of the landfill. Landfills are like a very big source of methane. I think you already mentioned that. Landfills are the 3rd largest source of methane in the U.S. Because of all that organic material that's going in there. So yeah, we want to keep that material from going in there. We want to prevent the food waste in the first place. So yeah, part of the pilot program is for the residents who can put their food scraps in the green bin. But there's the bigger message of food waste prevention. So it's good to be able to throw your food into your green bin, but you want to prevent yourself from having to throw away anything in the first place. You want to throw away a minimal amount. So the other part of the message is shop smart and waste less, and this is something that Reno will talk about, and then we'll do the raffle after. So I'll give it over to Reno.
Well, we also want to make sure that everyone got a raffle ticket, because we are going to be giving away one of those compost bins. If you're interested in doing it at home,
raise your hand if you need a raffle ticket.
So obviously those composters fill up really quickly, right? If you're at home, it takes a long time for it to compost into some dirt. So obviously in the beginning, and if you're not able to compost at home, the first thing that everyone in their household can be doing is reducing your waste that is being created. So one tip that Kirk actually taught me with a carrot. We don't have a full carrot. Most of you probably cut off the skin with a knife or a peeler. Did you know that you can use a little brush? And just like that, the carrot is completely amazing. You're not losing a lot of nutrients that you would be if you were cutting it off. You're not losing half the carrot into your trash or compost at home.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Have like some celery that is going a little soft on you. Put it in a cup of water. It'll begin to stiffen up, and you'll be able to use it a lot longer. Yeah. Also, you know, I live at home alone. It's hard to shop for just one person and not create a lot of food waste. List, very important. Look at what you have before you go to the grocery store. If you're hungry and you go to the grocery store, you'll probably bring a bunch of stuff home. My favorite thing, smoothies in the summer, soups in the winter. If you have some vegetables that are going a little bit bad, make a sauce for pasta, make a soup. You'll get the flavor a lot more as they're starting to ripen. You will get the nutrients a lot more. And you can throw a lot of things in a soup, like the tops of beef, the little greenery. That is totally edible. You can stir fry that. You can put it in a soup. You're going to be missing a lot of nutrients from your food if you're throwing most of it away. Do any of you guys have any tips at home for what do you know, your bread is going bad, you make French toast. In France we say pain perdu, it means lost bread. You can absolutely make croutons or French toast. Do you guys have any secret tips for
breadcrumbs with it, and then breadcrumbs in the freezer.
Yes, the freezer is my best friend too, and all your fruit that's going bad, freeze it, and then it's the best consistency for a smoothie is frozen fruit. And you really do get the flavor a little bit more once it's very right. Any other suggestions for food that you might throw away? How can you use it?
Chicken.
What?
Chicken.
Have chickens at home. Yes, of course. I would love to have chickens at home. That's like definitely a goal.
They're the best.
Yes. Yeah. Anything else? Any other tips? Definitely soup. Definitely smoothies. Definitely sauces. We have some recipe cards for food that might be going bad. A little bit of pasta sauce for your ugly vegetable produce. Yeah. So, should we go through the raffle?
Yeah.
How are we doing? Everyone's feeling lucky?
Everyone's
Yeah.
raffle.
Everyone's excited.
Okay, so we're gonna raffle off the composter, which comes with a aerator, which you can push down into your compost and it gets air in there for the microbes. And then the consolation prize will be an LA Grand branded cutting board. Okay, so should we do the grand prize first? Yeah. Okay.
We all want to compost at home. Alright, tickets out. Here we go. Feeling lucky. Alright. 6, 4, 8, 8, 4, 3, 1. Yay! Please join us after the workshop.
After the workshop.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now then we have 3 of these lovely LA stand cutting boards.
Bamboo, not plastic.
Marina is our other associate.
Alright, 6, 4, 8, 8, 4, 2, 9.
That's the worst.
Good old bamboo.
Alright, I want to pull one. 6, 4, 8, 8, 4, 1, 0. Steve, do you want to do the last one?
Here we go. This is the lucky one. What number do you have so I can call it? Alright, last 4 numbers. 8406. Sarah, you won! Oh, come on. 06, 406. I think they left. 1. Did you win? Oh. You look like you won. 406. Hey! That was telepathy, huh? Alright. Let's give these guys a big hand for all their hard work, alright? You guys now know everything there is to know about composting, correct? Okay. I want you to go on my YouTube channel and watch my video on how many people have seen my video on 60-second composting. Is it any good?
Lasagna method.
The lasagna method. 60 seconds.
What's your YouTube page name?
My YouTube page is AskMrList. Facebook is AskMrList. Instagram. So you can kind of follow me, what we're doing, where we're going. I do have a website. It's under construction for all the talks that we'll be doing. We also put one up. Did you see the jackfruit?
Yes, that was hysterical.
So anybody know what a jackfruit is? How many people? Okay. It's a big giant rock. And it's hard as a rock. And it's very difficult to handle and break open. So on my video, I literally have two tiny cheerleader girls trying to break that thing. Then finally I got in on it and we broke it up. Then we took the jackfruit and we made tacos. Has anybody had jackfruit tacos? Tastes like carnitas or pulled pork, depending on what kind of sauce you put on it. Very healthy, very good. I am not a vegan, but I don't mind eating vegan. If it tastes good, I'm going to eat it. If it don't taste good, forget it. But this is pretty cool. So I taught the kids all about jackfruit, and we taught them how to make jackfruit tacos. It's something new. Anyhow, again, my name is Steve List, and what I like to do in the first portion of this lecture is open it up to questions. What are you doing in your garden? What are your problems? Sometimes people bring me samples of their problems, stories, what's going on. What are you doing, sir? What do you do in your garden right now? Clearing it out. Now is the time to plant. Okay? Your winter vegetables, this is the time to plant. So you should be clearing it out, you should be preparing the soil, and you should be planting your winter vegetables. Now I've got 42 six-packs of vegetables out there, so I think everybody here should be able to get a plant or a six-pack to take home and plant. Yes, sir. Okay. Here, no, now it's fine. Now it's perfect. And because our nights are colder and our days are starting to get constrict, I like to take that date, October 15th, okay, and kind of look at that and see what the next 10 days after that is going to be. This year, the 10 days after October 15th, it got really, really hot. Yeah. So pretty much I've been telling people November 1st. So we're pretty good. You can go ahead and do that. What you want to do is get your soil prepared. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You got to think of also the cold night, too. So you're fine. Plant now. Yes. No, plant your seeds. I gave you guys pretty much every seed. Who's got a packet of seeds? Share with me. Here, this guy right here. All right, let's see what you got. California poppy. Parsley. Throw them out. Lettuce. Now, the problem with these seeds is they're very, very tiny. Okay? So especially the lettuce. So if you sprinkle these on the ground, you won't know where they went to. So what a little secret that I've learned is you take a piece of toilet paper, put it on top of the soil, and then very lightly sprinkle your lettuce seeds, where the carrot seeds are small too, onions, there's a lot of seeds. Then you can see exactly where they're at, just a little topsoil. You want to do the lecture today? Every week, this lady follows me. I think she's my stalker. But I like you. You keep me on my toes. I don't care what you say. Okay. Yes, it was. If you put a piece of toilet paper on dry ground, what's going to happen to it? 9 times out of 10, it's going to fly away because there always is a grease. So maybe dampen the ground and put it down so that it adheres to the soil. That's pretty much it. Lightly sprinkle your seeds. Just don't throw it. I'm very casual with everything I do. I throw everything. I don't care. I'm one of those people that whatever happens, happens. You know, I don't take a lot of thought. I don't take a lot of energy. Well, I do, but yes, sir. Sorry about the parking, you guys. Next time up here, we will have a monitor to do that. We don't usually have all these tree trimming trucks up there, but we'll make it easier. I do not want this to be an inconvenience especially those of you who've never been, because obviously I want you to come back. So again, let's get back to our questions and answers. We're working on winter vegetables right now. Yes, ma'am.
When you come to soil, if you add compost and fertilizer, and put some compost away, like marinate, I don't know.
No, you could do it the same day. Her question is she wants to know how long should you wait till you plant. Many, many years ago, people said you put your compost, everything, let it sit for a few days. I will do it the same day. Okay. Now, if you get green compost and it's not quite composted enough, you're going to have problems. So really, rule of thumb with compost is stick your hand in it, pull out a sample. If it smells like caca, it ain't ready. Okay? If it smells like soil, you're ready to go. Stick your hand in. If it's hot, no, you're not ready. It's still composting. If it's a little on the warm side, you should be good. Worst thing you could do is put green compost into your soil. To answer your question, compost, organic fertilizers, get them mixed in. Okay? Your organic fertilizers do not work very well unless you have a living soil. Okay? So living soil means adding compost. You get your bacteria, your microorganisms, and everything where the organics will break down. Also, as it gets colder, your organics will not work as well. They will still work, but it takes a lot longer for them to decompose and get into the plant system. Yes? Okay, lasagna method. In which aspect? Because we do it in two different ways. She wants to know what the lasagna method is. It's almost as good as spaghetti. Sorry. Okay, in what concept do you want me to talk about? It composting or for raised beds? What? Okay, we're gonna do. She talked about the lasagna method. I do it mostly. We do it in our giant tubs for tomatoes. Okay, when we do our tomatoes, I will do the lasagna method, but you could do it in your raised beds too. And the way I like to do it is I'll take a layer of compost. Okay, either getting your compost from working it, which is the best to have it. Be careful about going straight with your amendment here, okay? You always want to mix a little soil with the amendment here. But we're just going to go home compost, okay? So, and we're going to go with what they have here too. So you're going to put a layer of home compost. Then you want to put a layer of organic fertilizer, okay? Now you're going to have to go buy your fertilizer. So you want to make sure that it says organic, and it also has the tag OMRI, which means Organic Material Release or Research Institute. Okay? Any of your Kellogg's products, any of your G&B products, all are pure organic. So you put your layer of compost, you put a layer of fertilizer. Then you put your soil. Either you're buying a potting soil or you're getting, I always call it Lopez Canyon, Griffith Park mix. If you're getting the amendment, you're going to mix the 50-50 with your soil. That will be just as good as a potting soil. You put a layer of that, put a layer of fertilizer. Layer of compost, fertilizer. Layer of soil, fertilizer. See what I'm doing? That's your lasagna method. Very simple. Now, there's other ways to do it. That's the way. Yes, sir.
Got the wrong car. Yeah, white Lexus, license plate 7U.
Okay. All right. So, is that what you wanted to know? Oh, you know what? It doesn't matter. You could go 6. Remember, don't overthink the situation. Make this easy. Don't spend money, okay? This is not a science. Composting and urban gardening and vegetable gardening, it's very easy. Yes? Okay. If you don't want to spend money, why should she go buy organic fertilizer? Don't. Go ahead and get a worm farm and make some worm castings and worm teeth. That will work too. Yeah. So you want to pretty much do a permaculture sustainability project, correct? Without buying anything. I know where you're going. But you should still, you do need organic fertilizers. But if you're not, your worm seeds and your worm casting will be a pretty good fertilizer too. That's it. You don't have to buy much, okay? You should still spend a little bit of money, but you know what? It's also how much time do you want to put into this? I don't have a lot of time. I don't have any money, so I try to kind of go in between and get what I want as an end result. Yes. Won't work. All that'll do is top kill. All you're doing is burning the top kill of the weeds. If you have annual weeds, doing something like that is fine. But if they're perennial weeds, where the roots go way down, all you're going to do is do the top kill. And a lot of times when you kill a perennial weed on the top, that makes them more happy. The roots are going to grow. But if you're putting newspaper down and a heavy layer of mulch, that's going to keep your weeds down. I try to really push with these lectures organic gardening. Okay? I can talk all you want about synthetics, chemicals, everything. I'm very well versed with all of that. But I really want you guys to try your hardest not to do that, because you really don't have to. You go to the chemicals, you go to your synthetics, only when there is no other way to do it. Okay? So by what you're doing, if you want to put newspaper, cardboard, and then a thick layer of mulch, that mulch right down there is fantastic, then that's going to keep the weeds down.
So that would be after you do your lasagna?
I wouldn't put anything. If you're doing all the lasagna, you've got a pretty clean soil. You're not going to have many weeds.
But the weeds that are, they always come.
Yeah, they'll always come. You know what? Yeah, weed control manual is probably the best way to control your weeds in a garden. You have to get out there and pull them. That's all there is to it. There's really no sprays you can put without hurting the vegetables. And by the way, do not use hay. Okay? Anybody that uses hay around their vegetable garden to keep weeds down, you will double your weeds.
Oh, no kidding.
Why is that?
Didn't know.
Do you know how hay is harvested? They have these big machines and they're just cutting and it's sucking up every single weed seed.
Wow.
Take a bale of hay and water it. You'll have weeds growing like crazy. So be careful. When people say, oh, I use hay to put it on mulch, yeah, it'll hold the moisture in. It won't keep the weeds down. So answer to your question, I think you're overthinking the process. I wouldn't put a bunch of newspaper and mulch to keep the weeds down. Just pull it. Okay? Any more questions? Yes, ma'am. Oh my gosh, again? Did you forget? Ah. I do. Okay, so here. No, that's fine. We do. Every year we grow hay bale tomatoes. Okay? But I get a ton of weeds in them too. So what we've done over the years is right after, actually now, after Halloween, we'll go buy hay bales for $5 a piece. We'll get about 20 of them. We'll lay them out, and we'll start to season the hay bales. We'll put organic fertilizer on for about 2 months. And what that does, that kind of inoculates the hay so the hay doesn't take the nutrients out. All right, then we plant our tomatoes in there, and we just let them go. But yeah, we get a lot of weeds. That's how I can show you hay has a lot of weeds to it. I try not to use anything. Number one, I work for LAUSD. We can't. Okay, yeah, on the hay bales, I like to use blood meal on the hay bales just because it's a pure nitrogen, and that's what you're trying to add. Anytime you get a raw material like sawdust, raw compost, and it hasn't decomposed, you put it in the ground, it'll do just the opposite. It'll take the nutrients out. So with the hay bales, it's pretty much a raw compost. So if I add blood meal, it'll add nitrogen to it, and then it'll kind of, I want to say inoculate it, so it's ready to go. So then when you plant your vegetables, it's not tearing up the nutrients. It's a novelty. It's fun. That's all we do it for. Production-wise, I'd much rather put one tomato in a 35-gallon container. Okay? What? Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I'm a teacher, I'm an ag teacher, and I want to keep my students interested, so we're constantly finding new projects, new things. If a kid comes to me, this is what happened 2 years ago. A kid came to me and goes, hey, Mr. List, can we do this hay bale garden? Well, sure. Let's do it. So now we do it every year because it is fun. So interesting. What are we doing on questions? Way in the back. Uh-huh. Yeah, you should be concerned. It's sunburn. What happens is on fruit trees, and it's more prevalent on a stone fruit like a peach, an apricot, a cherry, their bark will peel, and especially, I'll bet you where it's peeling, it's probably facing southwest, where that sun constantly hits it and peels off. You've got to remember, I don't know how far gone it's it's thin, but it will come back. A citrus will come back faster than a stone fruit. What I would do is get some white paint, okay? Get your water-based latex white paint, mix it 50-50 with water, cheapest stuff you can find. Sometimes you can go to these paint stores and they'll have open containers or whatever. Mix it 50-50 and paint the trunk. What you want to do is you don't want to get any more damage. So if you have any baby fruit trees, avocado, citrus, or any of your stone fruits, right when you plant them, try to put on this whitewash, and that will kind of reflect the light so you won't get the sunburn. So I don't know how far gone it is. Yeah, well, you got to try to make it so it doesn't get any worse, and your citrus will replenish itself a lot faster than a stone fruit will. Okay, you have a question over here? Yes.
So my compost is done and ready, and I want to spread it out in my garden. How frequently should I do that and will my soil just end up piling up and overflowing?
That's a good question. She says her compost is ready to go, and how often should she put it there, and will it pile up? No, your compost will decompose, so it's going to go away. Your soil tends to go down over time. So I would put compost as much as you can. You know, as long as it's good, always mix it to the top of the soil. That'll kind of go down. Twice a year, mix it in your soil prior to your planting. So if you're getting your beds ready right now, you mix in all your compost. Grow your winter vegetables, and then in spring, pull them all out, and get the compost in again, and then you can top dress once in a while.
What about existing plants, trees, bushes?
Doesn't hurt.
Nutrients.
Doesn't hurt. There's not a lot of nutrients in compost, okay? Not a lot. There's a little bit, but it's good for the soil. And again, adding compost to the soil encourages a living soil, which makes your fertilizers, organic fertilizers, work better. Be careful about deviating, though. If you're putting in organics all the time and you decide to pour some Miracle-Gro or a chemical fertilizer, you can do more damage than good with that. You will hurt the microorganisms and the bacteria. So be careful. But answer to your question, more the merrier. Have fun with it. If you have good compost that's just sitting there, throw it all over your garden.
I planted crookneck squash last year. Didn't get any fruit at all. All we just got the green.
When did you plant it?
What month did we plant it? Was that,
I don't know. July maybe?
Okay. He planted crookneck squash and didn't get anything. Two reasons probably. What happened this year with our weather? We really didn't get hot until towards the end of July, right? So there was a lot of early morning moisture, which causes a lot of powdery mildew, and it will stunt the growth too. Also, how much do you water it? Were you watering it a lot?
not a lot.
Okay.
About every 2 days.
That's a lot.
That's too much.
Yeah, that's way too much. How often do I water tomatoes? Every 3 weeks.
Really?
Okay.
What
Don't
kind
water.
of containers?
I have 35-gallon containers. We plant them. We soak them.
Wow.
3 weeks later. Now, granted, when it got really, really 100 degrees, it really got hot, I gave them a few extra drinks. But from April 1st to July, we hardly water at all. And how many people went to our tomato tasting? We had 25 varieties of tomatoes grown at school just like that with no water. Don't water your tomatoes. One of our people that come to a lot of our lectures, he brought me this beat-up looking tomato leaf. It was yellow, it was crumbly. He goes, "What's wrong with your tomato plant?" I asked him, I go, "Are you getting tomatoes?" He goes, "Oh, I got hundreds of them." No, who cares? You don't want a beautiful tomato plant. You want tomatoes. But who cares what the plant looks like? So in answer to your question, you're watering too much, number one. Any shade at all? That's a problem too. All your cucurbits, your squash, your cucumbers, your melons, your pumpkins, all of those need full sun, hot, dry. I've grown the best watermelon in the world where I didn't know it was even there. They just came up and they started growing. No water, no attention, nothing. So next year, let's cut back your moisture. You okay? No, you know, just waving at me. Oh, you got a fly?
Yeah, I have a question for later. I'll save it.
So we have 21 garden beds at school, and the teachers kind of just plant a mixture of things in each of their garden beds.
That's not good.
So we really should designate one garden bed per vegetable.
Okay. There is the Three Sisters method. There's the square foot gardening. There's all these fads out there that you could try to go by, but most often, if you do that, you're going to end up with a big pile of growth. Okay? Vegetables grow fast and they grow big.
Yeah.
I like to designate each bed for one crop, okay? You mix them up and you got a hodgepodge. And also, if you're at school, you really want to do that because you want the kids to know. If you've got a bunch of different vegetables going, unless you want to do a scavenger hunt and you go, oh, well, let's go decipher this. But most of the time, you want them to know what each vegetable is. So, same thing. Did you ask that question, Stefan? Who did? Okay. I don't have my list, so I'm just going to go off I'm going to shoot from the hip here. Winter vegetables that need to be planted now. And you guys can think of some, or ask, or maybe ask if it's okay to plant that.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
I got your list.
You got my list. Cool. He's saving all the propaganda.
I want it back.
All right. I'm going to read this down really quick because we do want to talk about water harvesting. Asparagus right now, but you want to wait for bare roots. You got about another month. Go to your nurseries. They've got it there. You plant asparagus by seed, it takes 2 years. Beans, wait. Beets, any root crop, year-round. Broccoli, right now. Brussels sprouts, right now. Cabbage, right now. Cantaloupe, spring. Carrots, again, any root crop, year-round. Cauliflower, right now. Celery, right now. Chives, right now. Collards, right now. Corn, wait. Cucumbers, wait. Eggplant, wait. And when I say wait till spring. Endive, right now. Favas is a bean. Sometimes you can get away with it now. I would wait till spring. Jicama, I don't care. Kale, I don't care. But if you like kale, plant right now. I'm kidding. Kohlrabi, right now. Leek, right now. Lettuce, right now. Lima beans, spring. Mustard, right now. Okra, spring. Onions, now. Parsley, now. Parsnip is a root crop, year-round. Peas, right now. Sugar snap peas. I don't know if I brought any or not. I don't think we did. We got some seeds. They're easy. Get them in the ground right now. Peppers in the spring. Potatoes, any time of the year. Radishes, any time of the year. Rutabaga, now. Spinach, my favorite form of, not a lettuce, but I use it as a lettuce, right now. Squash, summer, winter, I don't really like winter squash or winter tomatoes because you don't get a lot of crop out of them. So I tend to say, why bother? So you want to wait till spring. Sunflower, spring. Swiss chard. Cool thing about kale and Swiss chard is you plant it now and it will over summer. You can have it year round. Tomatoes, spring. Turnips, anytime. Watermelon, spring. And then the last one says winter zucchini, which I really don't care. And your basil? Basil should be planted in the spring too. Okay? In my water, I have an African blue basil. Okay? And there is no seed for it. You have to get it by cutting. My favorite basil. All right. We're losing people. I guess my class isn't that good. I've never had so many people leave. I'm sorry. It was? Oh, getting out of the sun. Okay, that's fine. Then there's a reason. I get a little bit upset when people leave. Not at you guys, obviously. I'm not doing my job. I got the best ones right here. Okay. Any other vegetable questions? Yes. Okay, cover crops, if you're not doing anything else, yes, but that's why you plant peas. Okay, peas will act like a cover crop. Cover crop, what happens with a cover crop is all your legumes, okay, that's the word, they're peas, beans, all these things, they have a nitrogen-fixing root, where when the root is done, it breaks down and it causes nitrogen to stay in the soil. That's when you plant your tomatoes or whatever else in it. So you plant peas, when you're all done with the peas, wait till they're about 6 inches high or cut down 6 inches and mix those roots into the soil. Good example is crop rotation with alfalfa and corn. So alfalfa is a legume. So what they do is they grow alfalfa, they cut the alfalfa, harvest it, use it for the horses or whatever, and then they leave about 6 to 8 inches and they still that in the soil. They plant the corn right there and the corn will grow a lot better with the nitrogen. Now cover crop could be a lot of different things. Alfalfa, beans, peas. I use the sugar snap peas in certain areas. That's my cover crop. Plus, I get a product out of it. Does that answer your question? All right. Yes.
What about, I'm having worms in my kale.
Okay. Are they little tiny green ones?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's the cabbage looper. Okay, and very common, you'll see a little white butterfly, or actually it's a moth that's kind of flying around. You have to, I don't know how, okay, you want to go with organics best you can, all right? A little bit of dish soap in some water and spray it around. That takes care of it. That'll keep them down. The easiest and the best, though, there's a chemical, and it's not a chemical. It's a form of a bacteria, and it's perfectly organic and natural. It's called BT, or Bacillus thuringiensis. And you buy it at the nursery, mix it with water, spray it on your plants. They'll eat, die, and it won't hurt the humans. So that's the best way. But if you want, it won't touch aphids. It'll only take care of Lepidoptera larvae or your caterpillars. Aphids, use your soapy water. That's about the best thing. And you got to be careful about once the aphids get down in like cabbage and Brussels sprouts and broccoli, it's done. They secrete a honeydew, and that protects them, so it's really hard. So you have to get them when they first start. And I just mix a little soap, dish soap, in a watering can, and I just water the tops of plants once in a while.
Doing the top for the tail, though?
Yeah, well, it's hard. Spray it, dump it. That's for the aphids. Okay, and you really don't get the aphid problem until early spring when it starts warming up and you get a lot of new growth. But you can have some. It depends on where you live. Well, I hardly get any. I'm lucky. I have so many beneficial insects at school that we're really blessed. But I've never sprayed. Remember, when you start spraying, you're going to have to spray all the time. Okay, you're disrupting the biological balance. So be very careful about doing too much spray. That's why only a contact insecticide. The BT will not hurt your beneficial insects, but you're going after the caterpillar or the Lepidoptera larvae. Bacillus thuringiensis. So if you go to your nurseries, I recommend your Green Thumbs, Sago Nursery. Where do you live?
I live in
Los Feliz. Sunset Nursery is pretty good. I like them down there. Anawalt Lumber in Hollywood, they're very good. Green Thumb, Sago Nursery. You go into your box stores, you got to be careful. It's not advice. So when you go in there, know exactly what you want and what you're getting. If you go in there and ask for advice, be careful. They're not as trained as like your good old nursery. So how we doing our questions? You want to talk about water? Okay, is that why you came? Who likes to harvest water, and why would you want to do something like that? To use it? Is it any good? Right. Okay, so everybody has their propaganda, right? What we could do is we could just kind of go through this, and then I can explain and tell you what my ideas are of this. We have a rain barrel here, and it doesn't really hold a lot. So if you've got a small garden at home, these are great. Okay, but if you've got a large garden, it's not going to do a whole bunch for you. But it is fun to do. We've got 200-gallon ones, huge bins at school that we're going to be doing. So I want to do more, but I like rainwater. My plants like rainwater. There's a natural fertilizer in rainwater. There's an even pH in rainwater. So there's a lot of positives. Huh? Oh my gosh, I don't know. It's probably 5 by 5 cubic.
4 times that.
4 times that. It's probably big, but it's probably more than 200. I don't know. Maybe it's 500. It's 4 by 4 by 4. So do the math. How many cubic feet is that? 4 by 4 is 16 times 4 is okay. So you've got 64 cubic feet. How many gallons is in 64 cubic feet? Come on, math people. No. Me either. I know some of the numbers, but I get the point.
Per square foot?
I'm not sure. Okay. Water harvesting. That means diverting water to save or utilize. So there's a couple different ways. One is saving it in these barrels. Another one is diverting it. And you got a radical depaver. Minimize impermeable surfaces that prevent rain and earth from meeting. So if you have a lot of concrete, you're going to be rushing that water off into the gutters, and then it's useless, correct? So you really want to make sure whatever rainwater is coming in your yard, that it's going to areas where it's going to be utilized, right? Wood chips, we talked about mulching, keeps the water in. Less hardscaping means more water will percolate into the soil and down into the water table. Okay, so you kind of want to look in your yard and see what areas, when it rains, if it rains, how it rains. Who knows what we're going to have? Do you guys, anybody want to make a bet on what kind of rain we're going to have this year? You know, what we hear and what happens are two different things. Constantly. I've been following rainwater for 40 years, and I keep a track every day, how much rain, where it happens, what it does. There is absolutely no rhyme or reason. There is no pattern. I have never been able to figure it out. The only thing I'm positive, Sylmar gets exactly double what LA gets. Okay? LA got 20 inches of rain last year. We got 40. So if we hit 30 inches of rain in Sylmar, that's our normal. LA is 15. If we can get a good normal, we're on the right track. If we're below normal this year, we're going to be okay. I'm sure the DWP will raise our rates, but when don't they? Right? We can go a few years without a lot of water, but then we're going to be right back into the drought. My personal opinion, we are always in a drought. And you have that mindset, and that's why these techniques are so perfect. We live in a desert, all right? We don't know how much rain or how much water we're going to have. Up north in the high Sierras and the San Joaquin and the Delta, there's a lot of environmentalists that won't let us have any water. So what I want you to do is conserve the water and try to utilize it properly, okay? One thing I always stress when I'm doing these lectures is on water is it's your prerogative to grow whatever you want. If you want to grow green grass, if you want green flowers, if you want cactus, if you want rocks, you can do what you want. But it's how you water those. And I have 3 steps. These are really important on what to do and how to really understand your water. Number 1, know your soil. Okay, there was somebody here. Where is she? Is it you? Yeah. She's got a sandy soil. What would happen if she has a sandy soil? Would you use more water or less water? More. Okay. A clay soil is going to hold the moisture in a lot more, so you're going to use less. All right. Number 1, know your soil. Number 2, understand the plant. Understand the plant and what its needs are. How much water does that plant need? Okay? The Sunset Western Garden book. I love this book. If you do anything with gardening in Southern California, this book rocks. And it's not that expensive, but if you look up the plants, there's a little thing that says this one, Ogmanthus, little to regular water. Okay? Now figure that one out. What's regular water? Or it'll say a lot of water, or hardly any water. So understanding it, and also you can start looking it up and doing some research on it. But understanding the plant and what its needs are. And third is sprinklers. So we need to understand what kind of sprinklers we're using, how much water comes out of those sprinklers. How many people have drip systems? You do? Do you have a filter system? Okay. I brought a few things. I do an irrigation lecture also, but next year when I do this harvesting water, I'm going to do irrigation and water together. Harvesting water. But if you have a drip system, very important, you have a pressure regulator and a filter. Okay? If you don't, the pipes will blow, or you won't get even flow of water. And if you don't have a filter, those little things will clog up. Okay? So it's very important. Huh? Depends on your soil, on your water. Some people, there's a lot of minerals in their water, and they do, but it takes a long time. But if you don't do this, you'll be lucky to get a couple months out of your drip system without it clogging and not regulating properly.
We're on 2 or 3 years.
Good. Yeah, you probably should locate that. You should have a regulator. You should have a filter on all your drip systems. But knowing your sprinklers is the third measure. So number 1, with the soil, you could do a mason jar soil test. Very simple. Get a quart mason jar, fill it halfway with your soil, put a few drops of dish soap in it. The dish soap will act as a surfactant, and it will separate the soil better. Fill it with water, make sure it's mixed up, shake it up, let it sit. Now that's going to go into layers. It's going to settle. What do you think will be the bottom layer? Sand. Sand is the largest particle, and it's the heaviest. So you have a sand. In the middle, you'll have a silt. And then the clay will be on top. And then you'll have a bunch of crap that's floating around in the water on top. What is that? Organic matter. So between those, you can kind of regulate. If you have one that's almost all silt, it's pretty good. But generally speaking, you're going to probably have more clay than anything. Unless you live where she does. Where do you live?
Montrose.
Montrose. That's way over there. Yeah. If you're on the valley floor, like North Hollywood is very sandy. Okay? And knowing your soil and what to do to prepare the soil, that is going to save you a lot of water. Okay? You all get that? Any questions? Yes? Okay, what clay is going to hold the moisture in? Not only that, but you're not going to get any good drainage. You want to turn the soil real good and get a lot of compost in there, mainly larger chunks, okay? Redwood compost is really good for a clay soil. Also, calcium sulfate or gypsum will help break down your soil too. So using those two products is fine. I would recommend getting some of the compost they have here, some redwood compost, and some gypsum and mixing them all together. Now, clay soil is going to revert back to clay really quick. So you need to constantly top dress, you need to constantly work your soil. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, you have sand. You have a heavy sand soil, you want to use peat moss. Okay? So sand is a big particle, peat moss is small. Clay is a small particle, redwood is big. See where I'm going? Never, ever mix sand and clay. Why? Make bricks. Everybody thinks, oh, my goodness, Steve, so I have a clay soil. I'm just going to take all my sand and mix it in. You're going to make bricks. That's how the missionaries made the mission. Does that answer your question? Yes. It's hard. What you're going to have to do is top dress, try to scratch some mulch into the soil periodically. It will break down. It will help. Aerating the soil a little bit. And what are you talking about? Large trees or bushes or what? Yeah, bushes. It's going to. Just keep putting a layer on top. Not a lot, and do not put the compost up against the trunk. Okay? That'll kill the tree. Also, where are you watering your fruit trees? Okay, that's not where the roots are. That's not where they're getting their water. Follow the drip line of the tree. And this one's a perfect example. Stefan, see where Stefan is? Straight down where he is. That's where the water's going to go. All right? So that's where their feeder roots are. So that's where you got to find it. You got to make some type of a channel. What I do on my fruit trees, I take the hose, put it on a trickle, and let it sit on the drip line overnight. Then I move it to another one. It takes me about 3 nights. Do once a month. Keep soaking. But you got to get where the drip line is. on an established fruit tree, once a month is fine. Unless you live where she lives. So, but she knows the soil. But that may not be true. You may have only 2 feet of sand. What happens down 6 feet where those roots are? So, hit and miss, learning. I have kind of a sandy soil at my house in Somar, and the water penetrates. It's a very good soil. I never water my citrus tree. It's on top of a cesspool. So far, we're not. Austin, my grandson, he eats oranges, so he's okay. My daughter, who had him, ate oranges while she was pregnant, so I guess it's okay. But most of my citrus, once a month at school, and we don't just keep soaking on established trees. But with your clay, you're not going to have to water as much. What area do you live in? Rockford, so you're up against the hills a little bit. Yeah, you do have a very clay soil, so just try to put the mulch on, the compost. Once a month, you could do it. And just scratch the soil surface, put it on. It will start breaking down. And then also a layer of gypsum. There are some gypsum pellets that they have out. Not the pure white calcium sulfate, but there's pellets that work really well too. And they'll break down a little slower, which that's what you want. Does that answer your question? All right. Are we doing okay? You guys learning a lot? Want me to stop? still mad everybody left, but. No, when I'm redwood compost, you guys have to be careful about what you put on your grounds, okay? If you go and you take sawdust from a wood shop or a lumber yard or something, and you put it in the soil, it's going to do more damage than good. Just like we talked about the hay bales. Okay, that's raw. You put this stuff up here, all this mulch here, if you work it in the soil, it's going to do more damage than good. If this is only the top dressing, okay? That's not treated wood. Now you buy the redwood compost, it's been composted and it's been treated so it will not suck out the nutrients. It will give the nutrients. And the reason I recommend redwood is it breaks down slower, but they're larger chips, and that's for clay. Okay? Get your redwood compost, get the Lopez or Griffith Park November, and a little gypsum. That's your recipe for helping with the clay soil. Okay? Yes. Well, how did you get the avocado, first of all? Okay. All right. If you bought it, that's a grafted tree. Okay. Number one, you want to make sure that you still have the graft. All right. If it's sucker growth, if it's just what's below the graft, get rid of it. But if it died above the graft and you still have some of the grafted material on top of the rootstock, you're in good shape. It probably died below the graft and you're wasting your time unless you want to cut it and regraft it, which is a little harder. In that case, come up to the school. I will give you an avocado. Right, Sabar? Do we still have a few left?
That one you gave me was great. And
Yeah?
what do I
Listen
do
to
with
this guy.
it?
What did he say? The one I gave him is doing great.
Yeah. Where do I go from here? Because it's really growing real good. You
Oh, this
mentioned
is a good question. Did I take care of you? Okay, well, then I'm going to get that. I like this. We're kind of feeding off each other. Yes. Okay. All right, one thing you got to really be careful of. Which way is it growing? Is it growing to the west? Is it growing to the east? Okay, it's growing to the west, so that's a good thing because it's going to shade itself. All right, you're not going to be that prone to sunburn. If it was growing to the east, you would have all that trunk exposed, and I would tell you, yes, you have to paint that and take care of it. All you could really do is, well, actually, how big is the tree? Cut it in half. Cut it. Yeah. Just go in there and go flat. Okay. You have a grass on it down here. Okay. And you have to grass with your rootstock and a grass. If you would take this tree, no, obviously. If this was like a cherry tree or a peach or a next tree, and I came in and I cut it right there, it'd be one of the best things that tree would have. What's it going to do? It's going to come out. It's going to grow better. Yeah. That way you've got somewhere where you can probably work it, right? So that would be one suggestion. The other suggestion I have is to take some wire, okay, but make sure you put like a piece of hose around the wire so it doesn't hurt the trunk of the tree, and just gradually pull it back. Okay, just kind of like, I guess the example would be if you have braces. Just little by little. So your tree is young. And I have a guy that comes out every year, and he does a fruit tree talk. In fact, I think this year in January, Elliot's going to come on. If you guys look up the stone fruits in January, Elliot's going to take a big fruit tree, and one of the things he's going to do is he's going to cut it in half. Everybody's going to go, oh, that's the best thing you could do for that tree. So as long as you have grafted wood, you're good. And that might be the best bet for you. You are going to have a little bit longer till you get fruit, but in order to fix your problem. Back to you. Avocado. Did you put it in a 5-gallon can?
Not yet.
Where is it?
It's
Still in the liner?
Yep. Well,
Oh.
it's probably what, a 2? 2 gallon? It might be no, it's a 2.
Oh, I gave you one from school.
Yes.
Okay, keep it. It's in a 5-gallon can. Keep it till spring.
Might be. I
It
think
should
it's a
be.
little bit smaller than a 5.
Okay, but regardless, I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm pretty sure most of them are 5. If not, it was a 2 or 3.
It took off about a month ago. It's doing really good.
Remember, we're going into the winter. Your citrus and your avocados are going to slow down. Leave it alone. In March, end of March, put it in the ground.
So you wanted more sun coming right now?
Well-
Or is full sun?
Yeah, if you want to stick it out in the
Okay.
sun now.
Yeah, we were keeping it in the shade. When
Yeah,
I picked it
now
up.
you're not getting that hot
Cool.
afternoon temperatures anymore. So go ahead and put it out in the sun, start getting it acclimated, and then go ahead and plant it in March.
Water like every 3 weeks now, probably.
On
holding
that
great.
pot,
Holding
pots are
really
easy. Fill it up with water, let it drain, pick it up. That's how much it be. That's how heavy it should be. Next thing you walk over there, pick it up. If it's not that heavy, water. All right. So it's pretty easy. I could walk around the school and the nursery. I could pick up any pot and tell you how much water it is, just by experience. But if you water it, you pick it up, and it's heavy, that's kind of where your mindset is. And then wait a little bit, and then walk by. If it's still heavy, you're good. You're not going to need that much soap, but you don't want to plant it too soon because it is going to start getting
So
cold.
you're thinking March, was it?
March. You might or you might not get frost.
It's got a definite lean, and you mentioned the west. Would I want to put that lean towards the west as well? Or
I
does it
would
matter?
restake it.
Yeah, you get it straight.
Restake it so that it's straight. Start to get it to a point where you don't have to cut it in half like this lady has to do.
Cool.
Just talking about it.
I like it. Thanks.
Anyhow, we're getting to the end, so we do need to talk more about this.
Velcro for that?
What?
Could you use Velcro to stick with that?
Why would you use
No,
Velcro?
just, you put a stake on it and then have the Velcro going
I
between
wouldn't.
it.
I would get a proper tree stake. Even just your plastic tree ties would be fine. Okay, gutters and downspouts. Now's the time you guys want to get in there, clean your gutters. Okay, we did it the other day at school. Clean your gutters and have a good access where the water can go to get to your rain barrel. There's 2 ways we do this here. One, you get a kit. Okay, and the kit you drill to the side and you extend your gutters to go right in. The easy way, which I like. Did everybody see this? The colander? Stick it in the corner of your house and let it just drain in there. We haven't gotten to that point. Mosquitoes. From now, maybe another couple weeks, a month, from that time until early summer, the mosquitoes aren't going to be as bad, okay? The cold nights will start to go away. You could do a couple things with this. You could put a screen on top of that so they don't go in. You could buy these little mosquito donuts that are an organic thing. You could put a little oil on the water. All those things help. Or make sure it's just sealed, okay? Is everybody familiar with the tiger mosquito, the one that's really rapid right now? Little tiny guy, they call it ankle biter. This mosquito is a trip because the egg can last 5 years. Okay? It could get under this chair, lay the egg, it could sit there in 5 years. For 5 years. It will develop in a capsule of water. It doesn't need. So you can literally have this chair, water can get splashed up, and here come your mosquitoes. So you got to be extra careful. It used to be you walk around your yard and you see a pail of water, you kick it over. Now it's a tiny bit of water. Has anybody had problems with these mosquitoes? Okay. They will fly into your house, follow you in the house. They will get in bed with you, bite your ankles and split. They're that smart. So we really have to be extra cautious of any tiny bit of water that's laying around. So going back to all our water harvesting, yeah, this is great, but be conscious of that could be a problem, okay? Putting this screen, but you really have to get a very, very fine screen, okay? Watching to see if anything's developing in the water, but it's only going to happen when it's warming up. The mosquito season is going away. It's still out there, but as it gets colder nights, you're not going to have a problem. But be ready and be watching. You're going to have problems. Other question? Where's my propaganda?
So do you do anything specifically for cleaning out your gutters?
just hose it down, or you get a brush?
Well, we had to
or-
literally get in there with a stick, and there was so much dirt. There was trees growing in ours. So, and then when we wash it out, you want to make sure everything flushes out. Get your gutters cleaned out, and that's going to help get wherever you want the water to go to. Okay, real quick. Strainer baskets are made. Okay, 1/2-inch hardware cloth placed in the downspout. This is another thing. Trying to get all the leaves and stuff not to go in there. You don't want that thing full of crap. And also, if you put, let's say you get a lot of leaves in the colander on the top, that's going to keep the water from going in. So you want to be proactive and keep those clean. I'm going to go over a couple more things here, and then I'll leave it open to questions again, because we're pretty much out of time. Benefits of collecting rainwater. Relatively clean. That, I'm going to disagree. I have a pond in front of my room. When it rains, that pond turns brown. That's rainwater. Rainwater is brown. It's nasty looking. But it's still, you could drink it, it's okay. And it's free. We all love free, right? It's environmentally responsible. We all want to pitch in and do a little bit, right? If everybody pitched in and did a little bit, we wouldn't have all the problems we have in this day, right? If everybody walked down the street and hugged one person every day, what would happen? Oh my God, that would change the whole world, wouldn't it? But if everybody was to pick up a piece of trash, you notice all the straws? I think pretty much almost everybody's using those paper ones now. They're a little bit hard to get used to, but when I was a kid, that's what we used. I use sippy cups, by the way, at Starbucks. I kind of like that. They're not really called sippy cups, though. That's what I call them. You do too? Aww. Good question. Yes. Okay, here we go. I'm going to give you a quick lesson on coffee grounds. Coffee grounds do not reduce the pH of your soil. Everybody thinks they're high in acid, they drop the pH. No, they're high in nitrogen. Do they work if you just throw them around the plant? No, it takes too long for them to decompose. Are they good to put in your compost bin? Absolutely. Really good. Throw them in there. Are they good to put in your worm farm? Absolutely. Worms will devour them. One quick thing on worms, the more you dissolve their food, the better off they are. They have no teeth. So we just fed our worms. We had all these old rotten bananas. And I just had my students peel them, mush them up, and then I pour it all over the worm farm. And that's all you need to do. But you got it. The more you decompose this stuff, better for the worm. Coffee grounds are great. I'm a big fan of coffee grounds. But utilizing them properly. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, if they're not spent, you know what I mean by spent? If they're not used coffee grounds, so if you want to take that real good Starbucks you buy for what, $20 a pound, grind it up and put it around your roses, that's great. That's going to be very expensive. Then you're going to get your acidity out of it. But it's a waste. What a waste. Take your spent coffee grounds, throw it in the compost. Yes? No. No, I think we could get really technical on that, and somebody will probably tell me that that's carcinogenic. And I had somebody go off on me for recommending the dish soap for insect control. I said palm olive or Dawn or something. And they're, oh my God, that's carcinogenic. Oh, sorry. I mean, I'm trying my hardest to teach you guys organic, right? Not to use pesticides, and then all of a sudden I slip up. So, okay. Any question over here? Okay, benefits again. It promotes self-sufficiency and helps conserve water. Remember what I said. We live in a desert. We are always in a drought. Just keep that mindset. We can plant anything you want, but knowing how to water and when to water is very important. I have beautiful grass lawns in my house. I hardly use any water. Do I know how to water? Okay. I'm a big fan of green lawns. Sorry, Robert. PWC kind of butts heads a little bit with me. But it's okay. If you don't know how to water and you don't want to learn how to water, you don't need a lawn. All right?
When are you
lawns,
doing that?
Did you guys know that lawns only take up 5% of all our water in the state of California? And everybody wants to get rid of lawns and gardens? You don't need to. There's a lot of other ways that we could save water. Okay? Tell LAUSD to turn off the water when it rains. Number one consumer, right? DWP? LAUSD is number one customer at DWP. From our high school, we use less water than any other high school in the district. Why? I turn the water off when it rains. I run the sprinkler system. Yeah, just little things like that. It's so simple to save water. Parks and Rec. Do they turn their sprinklers off when it rains? Nope. How about the freeway? Caltrans doesn't even do it. And you know how easy it is to do? There's apps on your phone for your sprinklers now. I have clients. One's in North France, one's in Pasadena. And when it rains, I can go on my phone and turn their sprinklers off. Saves me time, saves me, and this is what we're getting at now. We can do a lot more efficiency with when to water, how to water. Let's turn them off. Reduces stormwater runoff from homes and businesses. Uses simple technologies that are inexpensive, easy to maintain. And a backup source for water for emergencies. I'm not sure if I'd go that far, just because it looks pretty nasty, rainwater. But if you have to, why not, right?
Use it for cleaning.
What?
Use it for cleaning.
You can use it for cleaning. Yeah, you're right. You know, your rainwater isn't just for plant material. But I'll tell you what, if I have 50 gallons of rainwater, and we have an earthquake and I don't have water, and all of a sudden that water comes back on or something, there's a lot of problems when the pipes break, and they say don't drink your water, but I'll drink the rainwater. I will real quickly drink the rainwater. So yeah, it's a good thing. Rainwater and tap water. Okay, I'm starting to go back to drinking tap water. Why? Good. There's no problem. Everybody thinks, oh my God, everybody's spending a fortune on bottled water. My wife freaks out when I make coffee out of tap water. No big deal. Remember, I'm the kid that drank from the hose when he was 3 years old. I'm still alive. We had a hell of a lot more chemicals and problems in those days. Yes.
I distill all my water.
It's what? It's more great. It's more controlled. There are chloramides and chlorines in them, mostly chloramides in there. They are controlled and regulated. But I've talked to people, chemists, and people that really know what they're talking about, and they're telling me that the tap water is better than the bottled water. And what's our big problem? Is these bottles, right? Those one-use bottles, yeah. So we're contributing to the problem by trying to be organically efficient, right? Drink your tap water. It's not going to hurt you.
Depends on how old your lines are. If
What
your water
lines?
lines are really old, then you could have really crappy water coming out of
You
it.
could have crappy water, but guess what? They're galvanized pipes. There's a lot of rust and minerals in those, and those are good. But most people don't have that anymore. Up to you. My opinion, remember. You want to talk politics? I'm pretty good at it. No. Tap water treated with chlorine and chloramides also can contain chloride, salts, minerals, harmful to the... Yeah, let's not even go there. Okay, hard water. Yeah. What? Does it talk pretty much what I'm saying? Okay. App. Remember that. Put it on your phone, Austin. Instead of me taking you to the movies on Monday, we're going to go home and watch documentaries on healthy eating. Would you like to do that? And then we can go get a hamburger afterwards. I had a comment on my Instagram the other day where we're making these vegan tacos, and I go, yeah, I'm going vegan. And then somebody put on there, yay, Mr. List is going vegan. I go, no. I'm going to counteract that with a steak tomorrow. Anyhow, hard water, high pH. Okay, does everybody know what pH is? Okay, sweet and sour water. Pretty much is how you could describe it, okay? Your acid water is sour, your alkaline is sweet. You want to get down to a lower pH. All our water in Southern California is on the alkaline side. You can almost be positive. There are differences. There are some changes, but for the most part, just understand your water is going to be very alkaline. Your rainwater is neutral. Excellent for your plants. There are a lot of plants out there, azaleas, camellias, hydrangeas, blueberries that like acid water. Okay? So this rainwater is extra good for them. So it is a lower pH, and you don't have as the problems. Also, a little bit more nitrogen. Nitrogen is your first number on your fertilizers. That makes things green and grow. Better suited for nutrient uptake by the plants in a better soil. I found every time I use our rainwater, we use it mostly inside the greenhouses during the winter time, the plants actually show a better result. And we've done it. We've taken half the greenhouse with just regular tap water and half the greenhouse with the rainwater, and we get better results out of it. And last but not least, contains dissolved nitrogen that plants need. So there are a lot of pluses for that. So kind of because we're out of time, I can't really get into more depth on different ways of harvesting water. Yes, harvest water. It's a good thing. You're not going to get a lot of water out of it unless you build huge tanks underneath or you buy the huge tanks that we're going to use at school to utilize it. But I think everybody should own a rain barrel. I think it's great to have, and it's your way of pitching in. If everybody does a little, we're going to go a long way. Just remember that. We're not going to save the world, right? It's impossible. But if everybody does a little, we're closer to saving the world. So I'm not killer environmentalist, tree hugger, but you know what? I've got some good ideas, and I just wanted you guys to understand. Try to do a little bit, and we'll go a long way. How many of you have rain barrels? Okay, how many do not have a rain barrel? Okay, who is the youngest person here that doesn't have a rain barrel? I better do this a little bit more. Vera, you can come to the school. Who really wants a rain barrel really, really bad? I'm giving it to you because you're the youngest in the crowd. Okay? And if you guys, a couple of you, if you want to come, I do have a few more at school. Usually every year at this time, I work with Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez a lot in Public Works, and we do a big rain barrel giveaway. I know what they're going to do. In January, they're going to go, oh, we haven't contacted Steve to do that. And then they'll send me a shipment. I'll have to put them together, and we'll do it. But we'll let you know if that's the case. But the last 3 years, we've given away rain barrels.
You wash them?
What?
You wash them out from time to time every year, 2 years?
Oh, of course you wash them out.
How often?
When you're done?
No, you mean when the water's empty.
Yeah.
Then
Well,
wash it.
this was just washed out. It's still dirty in there. I don't care.
No, I know, but still.
So the kids washed it out yesterday prior to coming here. Go ahead, let it fill up with rain. You know what's really cool? I'm either going to give you my own... Do you want a diverter kit, meaning you want to hook it to a drain, or you just want it to let it go down? You want to hook it to the drain? Okay, so I'm going to give you the diverter kit too. Okay? Are you going to come back and watch me speak again? You've got to think about it. Oh. Yeah, I like to buy my customers. It's kind of like I buy my grandsons, right? Why do you love me, Oscar? Because I buy you stuff, huh? Anyhow, you got a diverter kit for here, but you should put this where you've got some spacing. Put it on a table where it's accessible, okay? So what happens when this is full, you open this up, you put your watering can underneath here, and then you go around and water your plant. That's up to you. That's really up to you. For me, I'm pretty fit, but I still don't like to bend down. So I would have something about like this. I think all our tables are about waist level, right? And that's done pretty good for the kids. But I also have to consider, I deal with the teenage factor. Kids are lazy. They're not going to bend down. They're not going to go. So I want to make it as easy as possible. So waist level is good. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Should we wait after the first rain before collecting the water because of all the oils and dirt that's accumulating on rooftops?
Okay. Her question is, should we wait after the first rain before we collect anything? Wash down your roof, wash down your gutters. So you're trying to clean those out. That was kind of the first thing I was talking about. Clean your gutters out and go ahead and do it. I wouldn't worry about it. Nobody's asked about acid rain and all the crazy stuff in our rain. Don't worry about it. Again, we're overthinking. And it's the same thing, the methane gas with the compost. It's a problem, but you know what? Are you not going to compost because of that? So just kind of take things. Don't read anything you read on Facebook, number one. Okay? Except for AskMrList. I'm pretty good. And you'll notice everything that I post, you'll never ever see anything negative, and you'll never see anything politics. So if you start following me and you start putting up anti-Trump, pro-Trump, I don't care what it is, I'm off. You're done. I don't get on Facebook to get upset. But you read some of this stuff and you go, man, there's some bitter people in this world. Instead of bitching and complaining, go out and do something. Number one, what should you do to help the political situation? Vote. Correct? Okay. Go out and run for office if you want. You know, I remember my dad was complaining when he was well about all the problems at a store. And I go, dude, why don't you just be a door greeter at Walmart? That solved the problem. You know, things like that, I think we all can do. So I believe social media